Hello, everybody. Welcome to ReelTime for the real, everyday movie fan. I am your host, Josh Williams, and today we're bringing you our first ever episode of ReelTime Reviews. The movie we are reviewing today is Deadpool. Here to help me review that movie today is my lovely co-host and always beautiful Miss Christina Gaylord. How are you doing today, Christina?
I'm great.
So to kind of give people a brief synopsis of the movie, can you talk a little bit about Deadpool and what it entails?
So, Cliff Notes version, Deadpool is about a mercenary, Wade Wilson. He undergoes what's supposed to be a government program to gain superhuman powers and intend to save his life. Realistically, they just torture him for a couple months.
Pretty much.
The rest of the movie is spent with him trying to get his revenge.
Now, in our reviews, we'll give you negatives, positives, overall thoughts on the movie, and then finally we'll tell you whether the movie is worth your money and give it a score out of 10. So to start with you, what's one of your negatives about the movie?
One negative I had, which it wasn't so much about the movie itself, it had to do more with how they promoted it, was they give us a lot of previews, which at first I really loved. But then when I actually got there, so many of their greatest jokes were in the previews, and I was just kind of disappointed. You know, I feel like your best stuff you gotta hold till the last, so that kind of bugged me. But again, that's not necessarily against the movie itself, more of just how they handled it.
Maybe probably the marketing, maybe giving away too much of the good stuff, maybe. Which I can see that, and after people see the movie, I guess they can kind of probably see that point of view very much. Well, it wasn't necessarily a problem for me per se. I can definitely see why they would have a problem with that. One of the big things for me, well, it's not really a big thing, but I would just like to learn a little bit more, was the blind lady. And a lot of you see in the trailers this blind lady that Deadpool originally, he starts to live with for a little bit. They don't really tell much about who she is. He just meets her in a laundromat and then moves in with her at random. And through some storytelling without having to actually say it, like exposition, they kind of maybe hinted that maybe she actually was just another hitman, another mercenary,
or just a coke addict. 50-50
one of those. Because she kind of maybe hints that because she had lots of different guns in her apartment and everything like that. But I just wish they would have kind of told a little bit more about her than just kind of, she's here. And while she was funny and she was great, she's just really funny. I just wish I would have got a little bit more from her. Anything else, rather, from you?
The only other thing, and this again goes back to the previews, so in the previews forever ago, we got this really awesome shot of Wade Wilson's girlfriend is up on the top of a building next to the bad guy, and she makes this really badass comment about, I don't like to be the damsel in distress. And so throughout the whole movie, I'm waiting for this moment, because I loved it, It was just awesome. Never happens. They cut it. And I hate that, because her character is so tough and badass and, yeah, they love each other, but she's her own kind of crazy. She's got her own shit going on. Yeah. I feel like that would have really put her character over the top.
I could say, yeah, going over the top, because even when you see, besides that one scene, throughout the movie, she is a badass. She is just as hard, just as hardcore as Wade Wilson is, and just as crazy. So they kind of really work together, oddly, in that kind of sense, but I can see that again. I mean, it wasn't necessarily a bad thing. Well, it would definitely put her over the top, only because, like I said, for me, it's just she kind of portrayed a badass throughout the movie in general, especially when you first meet her in the movie. It's just a really funny scene which we'll get to that. I'll get to that later. But another negative for me, I mean, gotta kind of think a little bit. Can necessarily maybe a negative for me personally, but I can see as some people who aren't necessarily Deadpool fans. They may not understand how he's able to talk to the audience, break the fourth wall. As some people who are not really hardcore comic fans may not necessarily know how is he able to do that and no one else notices or really pays attention to it. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I feel like that's putting a little too much thought into it. I mean, honestly, I've never read the comic books, and for me, I just found that hilarious. I never stopped to consider why he could do it. He just could, and it was funny.
Yeah, so it's not a negative for me, but I can see maybe some people might not like that or understand possibly. And if I'm wrong, please jump in the comments and let me know. I mean,
he's always wrong. Let him know.
Probably. I'm wrong a lot of the time. But I mean, it's just some people who may not know who Deadpool is, like the sweaty nerds like we are who know Deadpool, at least me.
You are very sweaty today.
A little bit. But, that's just me. Anyway, I think that'll do it for us for our negatives. I mean, really hard to think of some negatives in this movie. Let's jump down to some positives. For me, for one of the main ones I'll go into, it's just really funny. This movie has you laughing from the opening. Literally, the opening credits are hilarious. I didn't even expect it either.
And for me, like, you always ignore that part. So for me, like, the first couple I missed, and then I'm like, why has everyone and I started paying attention. I was like, oh my god, this is great.
Right? And then just the wittiness of the writing in it for for a lot of the jokes, and then also him making fun of him being like Green Lantern in the past, or him getting his mouth sewn shut.
There's a lot of great little nods to previous stuff that just cracks me up.
Yeah, and other than that, it's just really funny. Like, a lot of quick one-liners are just outright hilarious. I don't want to give anything away because it's a spoiler-free review. We only do spoiler-free reviews here at ReelTime, but probably one of the funniest scenes for me, like I said, when you first meet Wade Wilson's girlfriend in the movie, she's at a bar, and I'm not going to give anything away, but something happens between her, Wade Wilson, and some other guy where she does something to some other person. I'm being very vague. I'm being very vague.
There's a joke that's made that he has been repeating ever since we saw it, and it was really funny the first 20 times. Now it's lost its hilarity. You just gotta go see it so you can catch the good joke. You'll know it when you see it.
It references to The Lion King. That's what I'll say. Once you hear it once you see it in the movie, and if you know what I'm talking about, to me that was one of the funniest jokes in the movie. I don't know why I was laughing so hard I was crying. But other than that, like I said, it's just really funny. What about you?
I think for me, okay. So it's rated R, right? And with that, please, dear God, do not let your children see this movie. When we went, there were a couple younger kids, like, had to be under 13 at least, sitting a couple seats away from me. And the whole time I'd be sitting there and, there'd be like a sex scene and I'd be like, it's awkward. And he's dropping the F-bomb like every other word and they're laughing. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. Children do not need to see this. Don't take them. But for adults, it's great. The action, they don't hold back ever. It's constant. It's kind of dirty, it's kind of gritty, but in the best way.
It really pushes the R, especially for a comic book movie, that I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And that's even more than Watchmen for me. Like, it even pushes it more than Watchmen, which is just, downright crazy because, I don't know. But anyway, yeah, it definitely pushes that R, but kept really a good comic book feel to it. It really blended it perfectly.
Yeah.
I think that was a really great positive too as well. And another one for me would be I liked how they actually told the story.
Yeah.
Like, there was seriously never a dull moment. Like, they go from him currently being Deadpool, and they go back and try to talk about his origin. Then it goes to him to being Deadpool again, current time. And it kind of does that same motion throughout the timeline because most people know in an origin story how it's typically done is they tell the origin, then it gets to the good stuff. But for this movie, I really loved how Tim Miller actually, directed this because it was like action throughout the entire scene. It never lets up, and it's just keeps you engaged the entire time.
Yeah.
Like, there's certain times like you definitely just don't want to miss anything. And I think that was really well done on Tim Miller's part. Anything else for you, possibly?
Nothing in particular. It was good.
It was great. This is a really great movie. Maybe another one for me. I just thought about it. The CGI. CGI was really, really great in this movie, especially when you take into factor how cheaply it was made. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, I can't remember exactly the budget, but I know it was maybe 50 million. I think just about there. But for how good the CGI was compared to the pricing, definitely shows. This movie shows you can make a great comic book CGI, not CGI movie, not heavily, but a good amount for a cheap price. You don't have to spend $100 million or $150 million to make it some grand, movie. You can still have a good budget and still make great CGI for the price. And I thought that was really well done. So now overall, what would you say, how would you say about the movie? What would you say about it?
Overall, I'd say it's fantastic. It's funny. Do not take your children.
Definitely do not take your children. Like I said, overall for me, great story, great CGI. The Deadpool, I think Stan Lee say that this movie is a game changer in the realm of comic book movies, and it definitely is. Really good story, and it's hard. It's also a love story, so it kind of really has everything for everyone overall. It's a great movie for couples. It's a great movie for, guys, girls. It really doesn't matter. Just not your kids, please.
For single men and women, of the interest. You get to see Ryan Reynolds' junk. So it's not quite as impressive as Ben Affleck's, but, it's worth the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, so now.
Hey, I didn't say penis this time, so.
You just said it. Good job.
That doesn't count.
Was this movie worth the audience's money?
Definitely. Go see it. Go see it.
It's worth numerous viewings. It's definitely worth your money. I mean, this woman, I know from experience, it's like pulling teeth to maybe have her go see a movie twice.
It's hard to get me to go once because I have to wear pants, and I don't like pants. So.
Yeah. So, for her to say she would definitely go see it again. I mean, for me at least, that's a big plus because someone who only really likes to go to a movie maybe once or twice, for her to want to go see it again and possibly again, really says a lot about the movie. And I think says also some of the other audience members who may think that way as well. So, out of 10, what would you score?
For me, out of 10, I'm going to give it a 9.5. But I do that saying that for me, to get a 10 out of me, like, my 10s are randoms, and I'm the only one who thinks they're that great. So really a 9.5 would be a 10 on everyone else's scale. I just, like to be a little sideways. So.
Fair enough. Me, I'm going for it. It's a 10. For what this movie needed to be as far as a hard R blend with comic book movie type of movie, and for it to be like, for Deadpool to be portrayed the way he, needs to be portrayed, I feel it's perfect movie. It is very much what it needed to be and even more. Like, some people, when you rate a 10 out of 10, it's based, for me, it's based on what that movie needed to be and how well it should have been delivered as far as what it is. This is perfect. Absolutely perfect.
I don't base my scale on that.
No.
I based it on how much I like it, and that's pretty much it.
To each their own. Well, that'll do us for today, folks. Thank you very much for watching, and listen, if this review has interested you in possibly seeing Deadpool, please go to your local theaters and check and see when it's playing so you can have a great thrill ride with a great movie. Also, if you liked what you watched, please click the like button below and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can receive more up-to-date content and videos of our product. Again, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, thank you for keeping it real with ReelTime.